Flying Joe. Know all there is to know, from masterpieces to deep fried tacos. And if the movie sucks, you might hear them say, there's no telling where the guys will take you. Get ready for a spoiler. Won't say it twice, cause we already warned you. Better watch out, it's gonna ruin the plot. Real spoilers. Real spoilers. Real spoilers.
Broadcasting from the lush but not lavish studios located in the basement of the O'Keefe Institute for Advanced Film Snarkitude, this is Real Spoilers, episode 693, Bob's Burgers.
Uh-oh.
Right?
Well, I've seen it.
I saw the wrong movie.
How easy must it have been to get tickets to that thing?
Super easy. Not a problem.
Those poor bastards. They were trying to do a Honey, I Shrunk the Kids maneuver, right?
Yeah.
When
Right.
Batman came out, they released Honey, I Shrunk the Kids the same day, and it made a ton of money because people couldn't get onto they couldn't get into Batman.
It was a different time where you
But
had.
that was before you could just flip a switch and send the movie to every
It was
theater.
The other, when you just had a reel to reel.
Yeah.
Like, nope. That's
They
what we're
was
doing
like-
today.
They were like, "Oh, well, yeah, we're stealing the screen from you other movies to show
This movie.
this movie because this is more popular."
Yeah.
I saw it on the gas pump while I was filling up. It was still cheaper than IMAX.
That's true.
But
Tell me about it.
Yeah. So before we get going, let's go around the table and everyone can introduce themselves.
This is Joe.
This is Kevin.
And this is Tom, and we are joined this week by
Steve.
Hey, Steve.
Hello.
Hello. So, yeah, lots to talk about. So, where are my shameless plugs? That's what I call it.
It's like we haven't been doing these for almost 700 episodes.
Yeah, and I also call it shameless plugs on the clip out.
Okay.
So I've literally
We're
done
gonna
it
get our lawyers on the horn.
like 1,000
He owns
times.
maybe the part of the property for the shameless plugs.
No, it's like when Letterman got to keep doing top 10.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
So
Just take it with you.
I'm like Letterman, mainly because of the gap in my teeth.
And not the giant Grizzly Adams beard.
Yes.
Right.
So, shameless plugs. Don't forget we're available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iTunes. Don't know. iTunes is Apple Podcasts, or it was. I don't know.
It's all
I
the
worked
same.
15 hours yesterday,
It's a beast.
so it was a long one.
Yeah.
But
There's
wherever
a
you
lot
find,
of Bubble Witch. Did you beat Bubble Witch? Is that even possible?
not Bubble Watch. I'm all best fiends these days.
Oh, yeah.
For free too. You're just playing that out of the love of.
Yeah, like they were an advertiser
There
on the
it
other
is.
show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I got sucked in. I still play
But
it.
yeah.
They have an
What level
advertisement.
are you, by the way, by now?
What level am I?
Thousands, right? Are you in the thousands?
Oh yeah.
It's like that was the week too.
Yeah,
I gotta tell you-
am I in the thousands? There's no
Tom is
no need to be insulting.
in
you
the
dick.
words of the Matt Basler podcast, quad dig.
Yeah.
He's quad dig.
Yeah, 6,152.
Oh my
And in case you're wondering how many levels there are in Bubble Witch, it's 6,152.
You're right there.
Wait a minute.
Oh, you're at
So
the
you
end?
did beat it, basically.
Well, you don't
Like, you're up
beat it.
to
They
where-
then they put out new.
right, but you're
it never ends.
You've
It's-
beat as much as
It's like the days of our lives. It
Yes,
just keeps
yeah.
on going.
Hey, man, if Marlena can get possessed and they can keep rolling with that show.
Yeah, and
Game
then
on.
so then when you max it out, there's side levels, right?
Ah.
And just to keep you playing. And I don't know if they just recycle old levels. I mean, I'm not
Yes,
Rain Man. I don't
they
commit these
do.
to memories, you know. But and on the side levels, I've played another 800 of those.
Golly.
So
don't ever challenge us. If you say there's a lot to do, don't ever challenge us to not get into a tangent.
Guess what?
Because
Yes.
we are experts.
We got you.
yes. So anyway, where were we at? Oh yeah, shameless plug. So what?
We have a review.
Do we?
Oh. Yeah.
Were they nice to us?
Yes.
Because
Yes.
they're not nice to us on the Clip Out
Sometimes.
reviews anymore.
Oh,
And
no.
they're all like, you have advertisers. And I'm just like,
Of course
what?
we do.
You know how you bought your Peloton? Through a fucking ad. What, how do you think things fucking work?
You have an ad. It is insane that people are like, I just fast forward through them.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I fast forward
I
through a
get
lot
it.
of podcasts, but I'm like, and also like every Peloton instructor is advertising. You think
Like
they're-
as they're
you think they're
instructing?
wearing Adidas
Oh,
for
right
free? You think Emma Lovewell drinks Athletic Greens out of the kindness of her heart? No.
We did something. I mean, obviously, this could be a whole episode on its own, or a whole podcast. But we did something really weird as a society where these things came out and had minimal ads, and a lot of
Or
them are
no
ad free.
ads. Yeah.
And so now, if people see them, they're all shocked and taken aback. But it's like, the only reason people make these things you're enjoying is to make money, and if you're not paying for it, there has to be some way to get paid.
It
It's
is
not-
interesting though when you listen to like multiple podcasts, just in different people or whatever, but they all advertise the same stuff.
Yeah.
like
Sure.
there is no difference between the it's
Same
Athletic
copy
Greens,
points
it's
I mean, they get to tell you the things they
Blue
want
Chew,
you to
all
say.
that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah,
But I mean,
and-
it's like it's all the same companies that are just like, no, we're going to focus on advertising
Yeah,
on
there,
podcasts.
yeah, there are some that like they see the value of podcasts, and there are others that are still aren't sure. And,
Right.
and I think also sometimes smaller companies like the dollar amount to get in is lower.
Oh,
so
sure,
the
sure,
the
sure.
threshold for entry is easier.
The dollar amount to advertise on Real Spoilers, real low.
Yeah. Dig in. But
I have 20 in my pocket. What can I advertise?
Whatever you want,
Oh,
man.
20? Are you, sir? Let me
But I
pull
will
your
also
chair
Throw
up
it
for
down.
you.
We'll do whatever you want.
I will also say that we turned down a lot of stuff. We turned down 3 ads just this week because we
Oh,
were
really?
just like, nah, that feels weird.
Okay.
Did you not send them to your other podcast?
But we don't we don't have enough
Sir.
downloads. The one probably would have been more in ours. One was like an alcohol subscription service.
Considering 2 people on this podcast are sober.
But I don't know that our listeners
That's
are.
true. Yeah.
But
Oh, we know they aren't.
yeah. But I was just like, like worse like the Clip Out and Peloton. So not that people don't drink, but like
No,
there's just
yeah.
a lot of like
It's
Well, is
fine,
it like is
yeah.
it like that athletic wine? Like, isn't that there's like some, but there's like some wine that
love
is
it.
like low carb and low macros or something. I don't know.
But I love it if it were actually advertised as athletic
Wine.
wine. Like you're on the bike and you squeeze into your mouth from a squirt bottle of wine.
I remember they advertised on 2 Bears 1 Cave, and I don't remember what it was, but that
That
was
sounds right. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, and I don't like wine, and I
Ugh.
rarely drink. So it's like
I'm not allowed to because I make poor decisions.
Yeah.
What's the review?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Top tier film podcast. This was from on Thursday by Aaron L. White. It's a 5-star review. Love everything about this long running show, brother. You ain't lying. It has
Did they
been,
mean that episode or the show? Just in
we don't know.
yeah, or either way it works.
Right.
Yeah.
It has fun banter, knowledgeable hosts, and great production value. Good job, Kevin. A must listen for your weekly deep dive into a new release. So there you go.
Thank
That was
you.
great. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. Imagine how good the production value would be if we used the good microphones.
I know. Yeah, this is super nice one. You know we're
Well-
doing this is 10 years. Like
Yeah.
in next
Next
year.
year.
Next year.
Next is 10 years of the
10
show.
years.
Well,
Holy
just to
cow.
bring things full circle, we need ads to buy the good microphones or Patreon subscribers. So if for some reason you're like, those mics are good, but they could be a little better.
be better.
There's a way, right? Just up
Yeah.
front, maybe move Patreon to the top of the plugs. Or
Yeah,
whatever.
There's all kinds of stuff. There's 2 more episodes that are in the tank, ready
Yeah.
to go.
You snuck it in organically. That's much more effective.
Right?
Yeah. So patreon.com/real spoilers. $5 a month. You get all sorts of stuff. And maybe we buy better mics.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We'd only need to buy one
That's true.
because we have the other 2.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, see, that's easy. We could do that.
But
Fundraiser.
With
We
more
need a
subscribers,
fundraiser.
yeah, we need- with more
Patreon.
but they're like, but it was like those are like $500 or $600 mics. Like
need a
Oh,
few
we'll get
more.
a deal. We'll find a deal.
We need
On
maybe
shore?
a few hundred
Yeah.
those don't hardly ever
Patreon
go on sale.
subscribers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, we also have a Facebook page, facebook.com/real spoilers. While you're there, like the page, join the group, and share an episode with your friend. That maybe if you're not a Patreon member, maybe you could bring in a friend who will be a Patreon subscriber. You never know. So here is who was kind enough to share an episode last week: Tammy Sherman Powers, Librarian Cynthia, Heather Sachs, Julianne Jordan, Josh Rosen, Gabriel Lugo, Chris Sanders, Chris Valls, Chris Magic Man, Chris Williams. That happened organically. I did not stack them. Spoiler Piece Theater, Josh, 674-30274-867 5309 90210. Mike, and Oscar. Minorities Report, Hugh McKenna, your podcast editor,
Oh.
not mine.
Oh.
But it just was what it says. It's
Perfect.
Yeah. I think their listing is like an example of how much better a show could be if it had editing. In Session Film, Geek to Me Radio, Chris Wilson, lone island, Chris Wilson over there, all away from the other Chris's.
That's right. Poor guy.
Yeah, he's a rebel, Dottie.
Maybe he doesn't want to be.
That's what he gets for.
He stands out.
That's right. He does
Yeah.
stand out. That's what he gets
Yeah.
for doing it early.
Yeah,
Yeah.
The Manic Pixie Weirdo Podcast, Ronnie Castle, Feel and Film, Binge Movies, Invasion of the Remake, Matt Naglia, and Ryan Terry from the Forza Crowd Podcast. So thank you so much for doing that. We greatly appreciate it. There's all that. We've already did the Patreon plug because Kevin snuck it in organically, and we're done. So Top Gunner.
Oh, that's a different one.
That's a different
That's
movie.
a Michael Pere movie.
Yeah.
Top Gun the Maverick.
There
That's
it
more
is.
that's more appropriate.
Yeah.
This movie has no business being as good as it is.
What the hell happened?
I don't know.
How is this a thing? Because
I
like
am shocked.
Like, I saw Top Gun when it came out the summer of 86, so I would have been 15.
Okay.
And I remember thinking, this is bad. What is wrong with America?
I didn't think it was like that.
It's
was
not bad,
It's
but
like
it was,
that was a Channel 11 Saturday afternoon
but
movie.
people were like,
Yep.
jizzing in their pants over this movie. And
Well, it's
I'm
a volleyball scene.
yeah, and I'm just
Exactly
like,
what it is, yeah.
and I'm
Let's
like,
ask Tarantino why they're jizzing in
what
their
is
pants.
going on?
And didn't like Navy recruitment like skyrocket?
Oh, absolutely. They wanted something from the Navy when it was coming on video, and they were like, "Hey, we'll give you a free ad on the tape if you let us do this thing." And they were like, the movie is an ad, right? Like they're like,
It's an hour and a half long ad.
We don't need your ad. In fact, the VHS had an ad for Pepsi in it.
Oh, really?
You had to watch an ad for Pepsi where like he's in a jet and he's trying to pour the Pepsi. And
Is
so
it Tom Cruise?
No.
Oh.
So he inverts the plane to make the Pepsi
That's a
pour.
good ad.
That's
It's
pretty
good. It's a good ad.
It's not as good as a Diet Coke can with a bat cape on it.
Yeah.
But
Well, sir, there are certain ads that transcend all.
But like that was the first time you saw an ad on a VHS tape. And
Really?
And this was one of the first tapes that was priced for home
Oh, nice.
sale.
so like at like
And-
$24.99 or whatever.
Yeah, I think it was $29.95.
Yeah.
But like that's how they got the price down by selling an ad to Pepsi on
right
the
on,
VHS.
right on.
Oh,
And
that's
then-
where the Batman ones went on sale too when they first came
Yeah.
out. Like Batman,
89.
yeah, Batman. They usually VHSs were closer to 30 or something.
And it was like
35.
$19.99.
And they did $19.99,
Yeah.
and it sold more than they got
because
the
it was
quantity
like
of.
it's a great movie, everybody wanted it, and it was like the cheapest new VHS
People-
you'd ever seen.
People were. I like watching those news reports about
Lined up
Batmania.
around the
And they're
block.
lined up around the
Yeah.
store, and people were buying them as gifts. They bought 2 or 3 of them, and they
Yeah.
were just picking them up.
I mean,
at
it was so
$20.
cheap that
Yeah.
it was like you were like, well, I'm practically losing money to not buy that. So, but yeah, so like I have no affinity or affection for this movie, and
But we should be clear, like, that's you. And you
Yeah.
at 15, I can't see being a huge Top Gun fan. But,
Yeah.
like, Steve, what's your relationship to the original movie?
I liked it. It's not. I didn't think it was great, but it's entertaining.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of my fraternity brothers, like in college, we all loved it. Like I think at one of our friends' weddings, we sang "You've Lost That Love and Feeling" to the bride, which I don't know if that's a perfect song for a wedding, but
It works.
you know, but we enjoyed it. You know, it's
Yeah.
entertaining. It's got dog fights and the beach volleyball scene, which
It always just struck me as like just the epitome of 80s,
yeah,
right? Like it is a snapshot.
it's like it invented bro culture.
It did,
right?
but it's also just like this weird snapshot of the 80s where like you look at everything from the clothes they're wearing to the music and you're like this encapsulates the 80s. So but like for me it was like always like that Saturday afternoon, channel local affiliate here would play 3 movies on a Saturday.
channel,
That's
yeah.
right. That's right. You get 3 movies and I guarantee you one of them was RoboCop, the other one was Top Gun. Like
RoboCop heavily edited
Yeah,
for TV.
yes, right.
It's so funny because like when I grew up, KPLR same way, but one of them was Abbott and Costello, and the other was either Mon Pa Kettle or Francis the Talking Mule.
Well,
like,
to be
that's-
fair, they were excited that talkies were invented.
Yes.
That's
So-
true. Yeah, they're like, oh boy.
we were excited when one of the movies was in color. Yeah.
But yeah, I think that movie kind of breaks the mold in like it. Everybody knows that movie, right? That's Top Gun is one of those movies that everybody knows.
It's in the pop culture zeitgeist. Like I can't imagine being over a certain age and not knowing the big plot points of Top Gun,
right.
Yeah.
even if you've never seen it.
Yeah.
Like, so I watched it for the first time a couple years ago.
Yeah.
I'm like, I've never seen Top Gun. Everyone talks about it. There are people that love it, whatever. I need to see it. I watched it and I'm like, Not for me. Didn't care for it in the slightest. I watched this movie and I'm like, the movie.
Yeah,
this is
it's
the
crazy.
And I think the thing to keep in mind, though, like, so I mean, I like I said, never care for Top Gun. I don't know how a movie can be homophobic and homoerotic. But here we are.
But guess what? Top Gun pulls it
Here
off.
we are. But I think you also, if you look at the movies that come out around Top Gun, right? Like what we're raving about Top Gun Maverick for, or what we're getting ready to rave about it for. Top Gun did that for its day.
Sure.
Right? Like that footage, those aerial scenes were next level.
Yeah.
And now we've leveled up from that.
Jesus Christ, have we ever?
I mean, this is like a Terminator T2 situation, except
that's totally fair.
There wasn't 35 years in between those two films.
I gotta tell you though, it in a weird way, if Top Gun 2 comes out, when did the first one come out? 86.
86.
So if Top Gun 2 comes out in 89, it's not this.
Well, it couldn't have been this.
That's what I'm saying. Like
right?
You needed that 35 years
and
to change. Like film needed to change and stunts needed to change.
Well, and this is an interesting hybrid film of a Tom Cruise adult drama, and a Mission Impossible movie, right?
Yeah.
Like he put in the Mission Impossible style stuff, but he still actually gave you a plot and a story and characters, which you don't often get in these big budget
made sure
action
he was
movies.
the savior of everybody.
Which,
well, sure.
And which I don't think you really get in Top Gun 1. Like, I didn't care about the characters in Top Gun as much. I'm not saying there isn't anything, and there's the stuff with Goose, obviously, but I didn't really care about the characters, but
because they were all
right.
Everybody was
I'm like,
in that
why doesn't
movie.
anyone like Maverick
Except
such a
Goose.
D-bag?
because he was Tom Cruise,
Right, but other than that, if it wasn't Tom Cruise, if it's just some guy, right? But Tom Cruise gives a mature performance in this film, and you actually care about him and what he's going through with his career, his relationships, the past that's haunting him. Like, you're actually like, oh my God, I care about him.
They take Maverick down a notch, so he's more relatable, right? Because not only is he still dealing with the loss of Goose, but he's also like they make it very clear that like all of his peers have moved on to these great careers, and he's basically still a captain and has not progressed. And every time he moves up, they knock him back down because he does something dumb.
Except for Kelly McGillis,
Yeah.
whose character is just completely
Never mentioned.
mentioned, which I just think is very weird.
But she was not in the military, right? She was technically a private contractor.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
private
guess
contract.
that's true.
Yeah.
But
They never actually say her actual name in the first movie. They just say her codename or call name is Charlie.
is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Probably can't call her that now.
But you know
That's
what?
kind
I do think there's something really interesting about that. And I didn't read up. I don't know the whole story about why she's in it, why she isn't, anything like that.
Well, I think
but
she quit acting.
okay.
I think she walked away from acting.
So that's fine. But what I think is really refreshing is getting a movie that doesn't have to, like, 26 years have passed. They don't have to get into every single character, every single relationship. There are plenty of callbacks.
How many
but-
people from 26 years ago are still in your life?
That's true.
Right.
You know,
Yeah, no,
you
it's
know? So like, I mean, that is kind of when you see all these people pop back up. That's a narrative construct.
Sure,
I mean,
sure.
for me to still be hanging out with the same people I did when in what 1995, 96. I don't know what the math is on that. I was a mass communication major, but but like. Yeah, I see 2 or 3 of those people maybe.
So it's refreshing that a movie doesn't, because it's been 26 years and he's had so many relationships and things happen with his career and all this. But to us, there's only one Top Gun movie, right?
Right.
So
Right.
we expect, oh, where's Kelly McGillis, whatever. But like you really have to be realistic and say, like, that was a relationship. It obviously didn't work out. Okay.
Well, no, I just think it's interesting because you do get Goose, right?
Yeah.
You do get was Ed Harris? I don't remember. Was Ed Harris in the original
No.
one? Okay. But
I love that they bring him in just for like one thing.
Yeah,
He's
I
so
was like,
good.
I know, I did the same thing, and I had just watched the movie.
Okay.
I rewatched it like a week ago, and I was like, was Ed Harris in Top Gun?
Did I
like,
miss Ed Harris?
I was like, because it feels like he should have been. Like now, like when they have him for one scene. So yeah, I did the same thing. I was like, oh, this is our fan service because Ed Harris, and then I was like, wait, does he? Maybe he wasn't.
He was a replacement for the bald guy in the first movie. The principal from Back to the Future. He's in the original.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Ed Harris
Strickland.
replaced him. Strickland, yeah.
Is he
Jesus,
playing the
like I
same?
ever have
Is he
hair?
like filling that role, like
I mean,
filling
he's
that
kind of-
slot,
he's-
or he's that same?
I
supposed to
mean,
be
he's
the same
kind of the
character?
same character. You know,
He's-
bald hardest, who's
He's
hardy.
not supposed to literally be the same
No.
character, though. Okay. Yeah,
But
but you're right.
That'd be
he
a hell
does.
of a promotion from a school principal to an admiral.
Jesus, that guy ever have hair?
No, I meant he's not playing the same character from Top Gun that Strickland played.
No,
but he's filling that same purpose.
I also think
Okay, I want it to be canon that Ed Harris is playing Strickland from Back to the Future.
give me that gritty
I want
Back to the
that
Future reboot where
right
Ed
now.
Harris is Strickland.
I mean, he would have
screaming
to
at-
be like 130 years
That's
old.
true.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine. Done.
Okay.
Yeah.
In this era of like the requel, right? And it's been done a bunch. To me, like, okay, I know Halloween Kills is not that great of a movie, but that first 10 minutes where they recreate everything from the first Halloween, I think is fantastic, and it transports you right back into that world. The opening scene of this movie with
is almost a shot-for-shot remake.
Kenny Loggins like kicks on, and it's like you are right back into Top Gun.
That sun-drenched golden footage of the people on the carriers landing the planes.
Right.
It looked like it was filmed in the 80s. Like, they didn't even make it look slick. Like, it still had a graininess to it. I think they must have done something. And what I really appreciated, you don't get opening credits anymore in movies, right?
That's true.
Like, movies jump right into them. They maybe sometimes put credits up, but most of the time in modern movies, you do not get a song with opening credits
Halloween 2018
that isn't the actual story. And so I thought that was kind of cool where it brought you into it, like you said, and you were in that world of the Navy, and you're
they bring you back into Top Gun, right? Into this world.
I mean, in a lot of ways, it feels like a movie from the 80s.
It really does.
But without feeling old. Like,
it's not an easy thing to do.
It's not.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is a pretty amazing achievement because there's so much fan service, especially for a movie that only a franchise, quote unquote, that only has one movie to draw on.
Yeah, right.
You know, and it's just I don't know how they did it. How they made a movie that feels perfectly 80s but also perfectly modern.
I think I know how, because they don't make movies like this anymore.
You're exactly
I know
right.
I sound a million years old, but this movie, generally movies that are just about like, here's this flight instructor and they've got to fly these airplanes and they're training to fly airplanes and they're doing the same kind of maneuvers essentially over and over. Like, they're usually not exciting enough to hold people's attentions until you get people that film them like this.
Right.
Has this guy done anything else?
Yes, he has. There's a reason.
He did Oblivion.
He did Oblivion, which
okay.
Since you've already mentioned it, when this movie ended, I was like, this is cinema, right? Like, this is me at the movie theaters the summer with a big popcorn.
For sure.
This is an amazing experience that I want to be in the theater for. One of the last times I felt like that, and there's been some sense, and I love going to the movies, but Oblivion. When I saw Oblivion in the theaters, I was like, this reminded me of the first time I saw Star Wars.
Didn't that get hammered?
I thought
It did.
It
It didn't.
snooze.
No, it didn't. It didn't do well. But this guy directed Oblivion.
Okay.
And there are scenes. Well, it's kind of funny. There are scenes that reminded me of Star Wars and Oblivion, like the trench run.
Yeah.
Which there are scenes in this movie that
You mean
remind me.
you mean the trench
Right,
run?
right. But when I got done,
Apparently, Maverick is good at bullseyeing womp rats.
Right.
That's right.
in his T-16 cruiser.
He's talking to Goose
Yeah.
or Obi-Wan.
Oh my gosh! When they were checking in with their like Dagger 1 checking, I'm like, oh my god, Rogue One checking in.
Listen, there's a difference though. The target in this movie was 3 meters wide, not 2 meters wide.
see?
Right? So
Well, they didn't want to get sued.
yeah.
They don't want to get sued.
Yeah, they want to get sued.
But really, I left Oblivion, and obviously it didn't do great, and maybe you thought it was boring. But do you remember the action in that movie? It
No.
had really
I remember being bored.
okay. It had really, really good action, and it.
Because here's the deal: if I don't care about the movie, the action almost never works.
Oh, sure.
for me.
And I'm that way
That's
with
fair.
stuff, too.
Yeah.
I just happen to care about that one. But that was Tom Cruise, and that was a movie that gave me that feeling of, like, going to the theater in the summer with a big popcorn and being excited about the visuals and the action sequences. And this guy also did Tron Legacy.
Oh.
Aside from creepy Bridges' face, like, Tron Legacy has some great action and CGI
Tron
stuff
Legacy
going on.
has some insanely impressive
Action.
especially for when it came out.
Yeah.
Like that's like in the very beginning of like massive green screens and things like that.
It has cool
yeah,
action. And
Garrett Hedlund, but that's
But I think this guy,
Can't really do
as
anything about
a
that.
visual director, I think he really makes some movies that look cool and
Yeah.
make you feel like you're there in the action. And this movie certainly is one of those. And this movie was written by Chris McQuarrie,
I was going to say,
which I thought
saw
was
his I saw
interesting.
his name pop up, and I was like, oh yeah, of course.
This
but
is
then I
like-
realized he didn't direct it, but of course he gets a.
That's what I thought was interesting. Is obviously he's become a Tom Cruise guy, and they clearly were like, hey, can we like they're working together on Mission Impossible, or whatever. Do you think we can get a sequel out of this Top Gun? And they're working on it, and then he's like, yeah, I'm kind of busy with these Mission Impossibles. Let's get someone else to direct this. But like they must have workshopped
Did he start
it.
at 4? Did he start doing 4?
No, that's Brad Bird.
No, Brad Bird's 3. Oh no,
No.
Abrams is 3.
Brad Bird's 4.
You're right. So he takes
Brad
over
Bird's
at
the one that
5.
brought back Mission Impossible.
Oh,
And people
no,
don't.
I think 3 is.
What?
The Abrams,
No.
Yeah, I think 3 is really good.
Look
2
at
is the
look-
wonky one.
No, look at. I know that John Woo 2 is the worst, but look at the box office.
Oh, sure.
And now look at the Mission Impossible movies
Yeah,
we're getting.
that is-
3 was nothing compared to 4.
I agree
4,
with that.
5, 6, they're all like direct sequels.
Yeah.
4 was like, you're bringing back Mission Impossible. You know what I mean? They were dead before
De Palma's
4.
like, hey, I can direct it.
And Brad Bird is obviously an animation guy, and
Yeah.
he brought that franchise back and created the template for what it is today. Like, you got to give that guy credit.
Sure, absolutely.
But anyway, yeah. So I just thought that was interesting that Chris McQuarrie had the writing credit, but they got is it Joseph
Kaczynski.
Sorry, Joseph Kaczynski. But yeah, he's a great visual director though, and I
Yeah.
think you'll see it in his other work. And this movie is so captivating and enthralling during the action, where I that especially the last act of this movie,
It's
You're on
crazy.
the edge of your seat. You are there in the cockpit. The action is filmed in a way where you're on that mission and you feel like you're there.
Yeah, I do want to say he also did Only the Brave, which is about the
Oh.
Granite Rock Mountain Hotshots, the firefighting
Yeah.
team in Arizona or
And
whatver.
Miles Teller was in
Yeah.
that, so maybe that's
Oh.
And
okay,
so was
okay.
Jennifer Connelly.
okay.
But you know, in that movie too, he does a fantastic job of putting you right there next to the firefighters, and also you almost like
Yeah.
feel the fire, you know, as it's
Yikes.
building around them.
Which is important in these movies because, again, when you get a movie that is kind of slight on the story, and this one does a good job of the characters, but you're there for the planes, you're there for the
Sure.
action, really. And if the other stuff doesn't work, you may not be as invested, but, you know, you're there for those big action sequences. That's why it's doing the box office that it's doing and breaking records. This is, I think, Tom Cruise's biggest opening of all
Which
time.
is
Is
crazy.
that
It's
right?
his first movie that's opened over $100 million. And I'm like, how is that a thing? This guy has huge movies. Even like, I'm like, a Mission Impossible movie hasn't opened
That's
to $100 million
crazy.
weekend.
Especially those last 2 or 3.
Yeah.
I gotta think it has to do with people being starved for this type of movie because the last 2 years. I mean, you get it with superhero movies, but this is practical. This isn't green
Well,
screen CGI.
And I also think that this movie is going to bring a very different crowd.
I will.
It's older people,
sure.
and
It absolutely did.
that haven't been going to movies, and they historically older people don't go to movies as frequently anyway. But I think because of COVID, they're just like there wasn't anything for them, and unless it was something big, they weren't gonna like cross that Rubicon.
I
And
saw it at
this
1:15
has pulled them in.
in an IMAX, and it was sold out.
Yeah.
And you went to the
it's-
115 show, which is the
Well, I
dad
mean,
show.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I had
That's-
to find time to do it, right?
No, and
But
there's nothing wrong. We're all
Yeah.
we're dads, most of us here.
I will
so, like,
also
I'm
say
not-
there was a lot of people that have forgotten that they're seeing a movie with other people because I was at a screening and people would not shut the hell up.
there was
They're
a dude-
talking to the screen. You go, Maverick.
Oh,
And I'm
yeah.
like,
What?
You're a 72-year-old man. What are you doing? Like,
there
what?
was a guy sitting next to me, and he was just like, "Hey," and I was like, "Hey." He was like, "Top Gun." I was like, "Yep."
that's cool. I mean, you're at the theater with real people. He may have not been to a movie in 3 years. Like, you know.
He looked like he was my age, so I think he'd probably been to a movie in 3 years. But then this dude was into it.
Yeah.
He may have had some liquid courage, smelled like it, but was definitely like as soon as Danger Zone hit, he's like finger gunning it like next to me. And I was like, oh, Christ,
well,
this
could
is
be
gonna
doing
a-
worse things with his
That's
fingers.
true.
Finger
so-
himself. That's what he said.
Could be.
The other thing I do want to touch on is Miles Teller is one of those guys who we have all raved about.
Yeah.
Yeah,
right?
he's
Like
great.
he's an amazing actor, but he's had a weird run as of late. As soon as he shows up on screen, and I was like, yeah, dude, like this is the guy we kept talking about. Like
Yeah.
this is the guy where he doesn't have the confidence, but he does, right? Like it's an underlying confidence, but he's sharp. He's quick-witted. There's an emotion to him that he's able to kind of temper, but it's like boiling at the surface, kind of like what was the drumming movie?
Oh,
Whiplash.
where he it's at the surface. He is about ready to blow, but he keeps it under wraps. He is
I think
amazing.
the guy
in
next
this
to the
movie.
movies was about ready to blow.
He was. I believe you're right.
Well,
hopefully he didn't have to on the way home because
I found it interesting that in this movie, he's almost the antithesis of what Maverick was in the first movie. You know, where in the first movie, Maverick is this renegade, and they have to kind of teach him, you're here for your squad mates. You need to keep yourself under control. Whereas here, he's called conservative in the movie, and Tom Cruise tries to teach him, hey, don't think, act.
Hangman is Maverick.
Yeah, that was the interesting thing is you get this character who is Maverick, who's the bad guy, right? Like he's not
really the bad guy.
not the bad
That's the
but
problem.
he's
Maverick.
He's Maverick.
If you think he's the bad guy, Maverick's the bad
Well,
guy
I mean,
in the
like
first
that-
movie.
He's kind of every guy in the first movie rolled into one.
Because he's Iceman and Maverick.
He has an antiquated worldview.
Yes, where
And-
Miles Teller is basically Goose.
Yeah.
Like he's playing Goose.
So, but I would say he's Iceman and Maverick because he's cocky like Maverick was, but he's also the best, right? And so,
really,
but Glenn Powell is the actor's name, and he does an amazing job.
they
as
don't
Hangman.
cast him as Johnny Storm.
It was between him and Miles Teller for Rooster.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Man, they made the right call.
But yeah, he
That's a good-
does a great job as the, the
Jerk. I think they probably thought for a minute there, like he probably looks a little bit more like he would be Anthony Edwards'
He's
kid.
got the and but the Glenn Powell has the jaw. He has this like
Oh no, that's
model-
what I was saying. That like
you think he looks like Anthony
he's
Edwards
blonde
more than?
and he's got. I will say Miles Teller when
Oh,
he
I
grows that
see.
mustache looked a lot more like Anthony Edwards than I would have thought.
when
going into this
he
movie.
walked into the bar, I thought I was looking at Anthony Edwards again. He's
Rocking the Hawaiian shirt
Yeah.
and the tank top underneath.
They did a really good job with that casting. But yeah, I think Glenn Powell, when you get a character that is like a Draco or Joffrey, when you can love to hate them, and he certainly did. But by the end, I like that
pulled
he
an
gets to
Iceman.
redeem.
Yeah.
Because again, they are on the same team, and that's why he's not the bad guy because they're all
Yeah.
in
We
the
all know
Navy
they're
fighting
fighting
for
for
the
the
country.
same spot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the bad guy, of course, is the country of enemy.
Well, this day and age,
I kept
you know,
waiting for them to say it's in this place.
No, this day and you can't have movies starting
Nondescript.
wars.
No,
that's the
true.
thing.
You might
just-
want to release it there.
That's true. Yeah. Where is this random uranium plant?
But you know what?
Yep.
I'm glad.
Let's not worry about that.
But
They
you-
did the same thing in the first movie too. They never identify who it is. The MiG-28 is a fictional jet. There's no actual one, because I think all the MiGs are odd numbers. They did that intentionally, as not to piss off one of those
interesting.
countries.
But he
Okay.
opened, but they're literally flipping off the Russians in the opening scene of the movie.
I mean, it's the
Oh,
80s, right? Like, you
Yeah.
could do that, that's
Yeah, you could do that in the
I mean, you should
80s.
probably still do it now.
Russia.
But
I mean, it was just Russia's bad, like in the
Right.
story. And
Weird.
we don't worry about
2022, things haven't changed.
the. Yeah,
much.
we don't worry about the international marketplace.
But I do like that we
no,
can
I
talk.
get it, but I'm still going to tease it.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
I like that we can talk about this movie and don't have to go into politics.
I think that's part of why it's so popular
Yeah.
too,
Right.
is
It
because
is super-
nobody's going to say, "Well, technically Russia and Ukraine," and
Right.
you're
Yeah,
not
it's-
going to get some QAnon person telling you how. Yeah,
Well, and here's the deal. This movie was scheduled to be released in 2020. This
Yeah.
movie's been shelved for 2 years. Tom Cruise has the weight to say, well, this is a theatrical movie.
You're going to sit on your $300 million investment.
for 2 years.
2 years.
And guess what? Tom Cruise was right.
was right.
Biggest opening
Oh,
of his
yeah.
career. The movie's incredible on the big screen. It's a movie that begs to be watched on the big screen. I mean, I'm on record as saying I think you can watch any movie on any medium. I don't say you have to, but if you want the maximum enjoyment,
Totally.
there's a difference, right? Like you can
The
love a movie at
sound-
home, but
yeah,
I saw it on IMAX, and I've told about the movie. I'm like,
That's how to do it.
spend the money.
Yep.
See it on the IMAX, and
Totally
it's not
agree.
something I say very often. But because I think in most cases it doesn't really make a difference. But and not just the visuals, but the sound.
Right.
When
Yeah.
they fire up those jets, and that IMAX sound just like punches you in the chest, like you're at a Maiden concert
Two people got up and left within the first 10 minutes of the movie because it was so
because of
loud.
their pacemakers.
Oh.
Exactly it. It was. That's the other thing is like it was a very
I felt sorry
Old
for any.
audience.
I was like,
I don't
man, I
mean
feel
that
sorry
bad
for
with it.
anybody seeing a movie in another theater, but I'm like, well, I guess they're seeing this.
I remember when I saw I saw Dirty Work, which came out at the same time as Godzilla.
Rest in peace, like all of them.
Yes, yeah, no
Jeez.
joke. But it came out the same.
How is
week.
Artie Lang the one?
That's
still
the
alive?
one. Like that's the one that makes
I
it out of that
know.
movie.
Yeah.
It's insane. But like I think that opened the same weekend or around the same time as Godzilla, And there's nobody seeing Dirty Work. Nobody saw that movie in the theater. And Godzilla I did too.
I actually gave an audition for a commercial to go see Dirty Work with my friends.
I like it.
It was like,
It's good. It's a good call.
But even if you didn't see it, you got to hear it from the next.
He could have been Flo for Progressive.
But that's the thing is like Godzilla's playing next door, and the wall was rattling. Like,
remember going to see a movie in 1993, and remember every movie being Jurassic Park because whether you were in the auditorium
You
or
were
not.
watching
I'll
Jurassic
never
Park.
forget being in the theater next to Jurassic Park in '93 and it being like,
What were you seeing in '93 that wasn't Jurassic Park?
I'm sure there were
Honey,
plenty
I
of
Blew
things.
Up the Kid?
I can't remember exactly
Forrest
what
Gump?
the big movie,
Was that-
but there were. I mean, any movie you saw in '93 when Jurassic Park was like, you
Sure.
could hear it from. That bass was so loud when the dinosaur stomps by the electric fence and the puddle and all that.
They
That's
wanted
the
to make
scene.
sure
Boom.
every cup and everything rattled.
Everything.
Yeah,
It was
right.
a really good viral, marketing moment where your cups were shaking and you looked at it and then
Yeah. So this one basically it opens. I do appreciate that now Maverick has become Hal Jordan. Like he's basically the same character as Hal Jordan, where he's a test pilot and he's kind of been grounded, but he's not in dogfights anymore. And they're about to test this new supersonic jet, and Ed
Is this
Harris.
a real jet?
so it's not real. They're building, I think, an SR-72, which is the next step in the SR-71. But interestingly, I did see an article that said that apparently China was fooled into believing that this was an actual
Oh
plane.
no!
And so they tried to send a spy satellite or something to
To go to the Top
Yeah.
Gun set. And
I'm not sure if that's confirmed or not, but I did see a report on that.
I hope that it does.
We're just going to choose to believe that that's true.
Yeah.
That's too
No,
good
we're
of a story.
we're running with that story.
Too good of a story to check.
But apparently the company that designed is designing the actual plane. They designed this plane
Okay.
for Top Gun 2.
Okay,
That's cool.
Okay. And they find
They're
out
like
that-
designing planes is easy when they don't have to work.
Right.
Yeah, right. Just make it look
It's
cool.
fun.
Yeah. We find out that Ed Harris, who is in charge of this program, is going to shut it down in favor of an unmanned aircraft. Well, of course, Maverick being Maverick, he's like, well, he's not here yet. And they, as they're taking off, Ed Harris is pulling up and he flies over it. That's all real, apparently.
I love when everything shook. And,
That's real.
Yeah, that was
Like they destroyed that set on accident. That was one take, and that is what's in the movie. Is that's all
because
real.
The building at the gate with the little
Like
lever
blows
thing
them.
like jumps off the ground and then gets reassembled like in a cartoon. I literally saw it lift up and go back down.
right.
Yeah. I can't believe like Ed Harris stood there and stood that because
I gotta tell you, I didn't think Ed Harris could stand.
I
That dude's got to be. How old is that guy?
He's got to be in his 80s.
Easily.
And he's an amazing actor. We're not saying, but he's up there now.
He was a general in The Rock, which came out in like 96, 97.
Yeah.
And
He was
like
a
older
fighter
looking then.
pilot in The Right Stuff.
Yeah.
And he looked old in that.
Yeah.
He's got that Tommy Lee Jones face.
Yeah.
But the fact that he stood there and you saw it move a
Like,
building,
and yeah,
so
the
that was a
whole
cool
thing.
shot, though.
It was
And-
very cool.
and that is an early example of why this movie is so cool because of all the practical stunts they did.
Yeah.
I was thinking when I was driving home from it, how lame would this movie have been if all the flying stuff was just
It
a
would've sucked.
CG
It
background?
would have sucked.
It would have been like
Would have been
we've-
Fast and Furious.
Yeah.
we've seen people in vehicles with a CG background. Like, it's not exciting,
Yeah.
right? And all this aerial footage, which clearly wasn't them doing the maneuvers, but them then actually being up in planes in the cockpits, like
It's against the law. They're not allowed to touch the controls.
right.
Is that right?
Mhm.
Oh.
So, but Tom
So they're
Cruise.
they're in the planes,
Yeah.
but they can't touch anything. Yeah.
Okay.
So Tom Cruise made sure that all these pilots actually went through training to be able to fly planes, but because they're naval aircraft, they're not allowed to actually operate them.
I
But
see.
but they are up there filming themselves while traveling at those
It
speeds,
is dope.
doing those maneuvers. And so again, you feel like you're in the cockpit the way it's filmed, and it's exciting. And
Yeah.
and that is what Tom Cruise is all about, saying, I'm going to do practical effects and stunts. I'm going to release my movies in theaters. And this guy is, one of the reasons we're still getting people pushing the envelope when it comes to these action movies.
The director, he did an interview, and he said that they shot 800 hours of footage.
Yeah.
He said that's more
my
footage than the
gosh.
Lord of the Rings trilogy combined.
Yeah.
Is
It-
there,
It costs like $11,000 an hour.
is there
like,
a
for the jet-
4-hour
for each
for the plane.
extended
Yeah.
cut of Top Gun 2?
Might
We get the extended version. That's
I think it'd be boring because it's a lot of B-roll of planes. Because I mean, if you watch the first Top Gun, it is as good as the aerial stuff was. I mean, they shot a lot of footage, and
Yep.
then it won an Academy Award for editing as well. It should have
Oh, did
because
it?
they assembled a bunch of really good B-roll of planes, and they edited it in a way to make it look like they were having dogfights and stuff, you know? And I mean, that most of that was done in the editing bay. And so...
And you got to give them credit for this, too, because you're cutting between pictures of all these actors in planes and then all these amazing aerial maneuvers by the pilots, and they cut them together where you feel like they're the ones doing it.
And it's cohesive. Like,
Right.
it's not... You know, like, you know who's where and what's going on. Like, that's... you know, like, that's not an easy thing to achieve. It
does help that their names are on their heads.
It does.
Oh, and
it
their
does.
planes. They put them on the
Yeah.
planes
Oh,
and their
sure,
helmets.
sure.
Yeah, I mean, it absolutely does. But like, that could have been a hot mess. I mean, how many times have we seen just fight scenes, hand-to-hand combat scenes, where you're just like, I don't even know what I'm looking at.
Transformers is a prime example.
Yeah, and this doesn't do that.
No,
so I
not
mean,
at all.
it's you know that's not an easy feat. And if you really watch Top Gun, you can see in the editing, like, you know, things don't always match up.
Oh, sure.
You know, but there was only so much they can do. The other thing to keep in mind is Top Gun. The budget for Top Gun, $15 million.
My goodness,
It's a $15 million
That's
movie.
crazy.
Adjust that for inflation, it's $39 million.
Where is
Nothing.
he?
You
want to
hear something else that'll blow your mind? The budget for Iron Eagle,
Yeah.
$18 million.
What?
Yeah, make that make sense.
I can't-
I think
where
it
is
comes
he-
down to the director, right? Like, you've got Tony Scott is a director that knows what he wants to do with this movie, and he's not wasting a lot of time and footage. And, you know, I mean, obviously there's a lot of people on the crew that go into it, these production managers.
But
and
I'm just
everything,
like, how look? What? It's the bigger movie. Going in, it was the bigger movie.
Oh, sure.
How does Iron Eagle cost $3 million more dollars?
Where is he in his career in that first Top Gun? So, like, is he the Tom Cruise? I mean, like, is he it? Is he the guy at that point, or is he
Risky
still
Business,
Is he
Days
still
of Thunder,
on the
Top
rise?
Gun.
No, Days of Thunder is
Is
after
post Top Gun.
Is after Top, because Days of Thunder
what's
was
the-
like Top Gun with cars.
Yeah, no, what is
but you would have had Risky Business. You would have had All the Right Moves.
all the right moves.
Yeah,
is what I was thinking of. Yeah.
Cocktail? No.
No, Cocktails after. This is the movie that really takes
is the
him
one.
next level.
This is his
superstar.
Independence Day.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, he had definitely been in hits and was trending upwards, but this is the movie that like made him like a legit movie star, and it's the highest grossing movie of the year. I think it made like $377 million worldwide.
Amazing.
Like,
That's crazy.
yeah, I think it was like 177 million in the States, and then like another 177
When's
international.
Footloose?
Footloose would
Yeah.
have been like 2 years before this. I think Footloose was like 84.
Okay. I'm just thinking of Kenny Loggins being like, "I'll take that. I'll
Yeah.
take that. Thank you very much." Yeah. So he runs this
He goes Mach
10,
10.3
which
or 10.4,
which basically
breaks the plane.
breaks the plane, but he also extends not the career, but like this job for everybody
Yeah.
involved.
This contract.
This
They were
contract,
supposed to
yeah.
get up to Mach 10 to be able to keep doing it.
Here's how beloved Tom Cruise is. He has conservatives rooting for the extension of a government project.
Who knew?
Right? Like
Yeah.
it's,
You know. But because he does this, he gets busted down. Not busted, but he gets transferred to Top Gun.
He has to go
school.
coach the Mighty Ducks.
That's exactly it. Yeah. Poor Martin Bombay has to go to the Ducks and
Yeah.
teach them how to play hockey.
But
Quack, quack, quack,
basically,
Mr. Ducksworth.
Iceman's the only reason that Maverick's in the Navy. He would have been gone long ago, but Iceman is now the admiral.
an
He's
admiral.
at the top.
There has, Val
he's
Kilmer
the
has.
mightiest of the Ducks.
He is the mightiest of the Ducks. Val Kilmer obviously has had his health issues. This is a perfect, when it comes to fan service, this is a perfect, way to do it.
They handled it really well.
They did.
And
Yeah.
even in his speaking, does anyone know, was that really him?
That
Or did his
sounds
like
son
I'm pretty
do
sure,
it?
'cause
Well,
I-
his son does some stuff too, like in his documentary.
Yeah.
He
Like,
sounds
does
a lot
voiceover?
like him.
Oh.
So I didn't know because it sounded so clear and like him. I
Yeah.
didn't know if maybe he could get
Maybe they
that
cleaned
out.
it up a
or-
little
I think
bit,
I read
probably.
that they actually had some sound engineers recreate his
do the
voice.
computer
Yeah.
thing because he's
like cleaned it up.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
because if you hear him talk normally, he has like the voice box type thing, you know,
Yeah.
where he is, and whatever, it's fine. But I was impressed how it was so touching and it sounded just like him. And I
Yeah.
thought, I haven't heard that in a long time, so I wondered, but beautifully handled. Was what-
it's they wanted to get him in there. They got him in there. They let him do his thing.
Yeah.
And then they let them. It's interesting because you don't the end of Top Gun, right? Is them shaking hands. That's kind of how that ends. So you don't. you're not able to see their progression of their relationship. And where in here, immediately he's like, I love you. Like, we never see Iceman's wife in the first one. So like, that was just like a random character. I did think, I was like, is Meg Ryan going to show up in this movie?
Nope.
We're
She's
going to
dead.
kill her off screen.
But I do like that throughout the movie, even before you get there, we do hear about how Iceman has helped Maverick out and
he's
kept him in the
constantly-
Navy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, his last chance is to go teach Top Gun.
Right. And we find out we're introduced to John Hamm, who I think is great in this. Like, he's given a hell of a performance.
What a jerk!
What a jerk. But in like the best way.
Yeah, well,
Right?
no, I mean,
Like,
great
he's
performance.
so
Just
good.
Another one of those where you're rooting.
But
against.
it's one of those things where it's like he's only a jerk because
Right.
it's
He
a
has to
Top
be.
Gun movie,
Right.
Like
Yeah.
in real life, you're like, no, that guy's right.
No, he's totally right.
yeah, like
You need people that are going to be realistic and not get people killed and
Yeah.
$1 million planes exploded. Like, I mean, I can't believe. Obviously, Iceman has some pull because if he got that plane exploded, how much do
Yeah.
you think some experimental plane like that would be? In the hundreds of millions or billion?
Billions.
Or,
Has to be.
Billions.
so, I mean,
Let's get Boeing on the phone. We'll find
by him
out.
being a hotshot, like I get it's like, yeah, he extended the contract, whatever, but it's like, one, he could have been killed and they had that liability, and two, that's a lot of money someone paid for.
Yeah.
So anyway,
That's a
but-
great scene, by the way.
money
when he
that
wa-
the
when he
taxpayers
walks,
have
Yeah.
paid
when he
for.
walks in,
Yeah.
and he was just like, "Where am I?" And the kid's like, "Earth."
Yeah,
I almost knew, like, it was a callback to there's a movie, Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, Eraser,
Yeah.
where he does the same thing. He's like parachutes down. He's like, "Where am I?" And this kid says, "Earth." Well done.
Oh.
I was like, "This kid's gonna do it. He's gonna say Earth." He did.
My pines. So like basically he is tasked with getting the best of the best from prior graduates from Top Gun school, and he has to assemble this team and kind of get this insanely impossible thing.
Do you know all their call signs? Can you rattle them off, Steve?
I probably could if I really wanted to, but
Let's try to Phoenix, Bob, Coyote,
Rooster,
Rooster.
Hangman,
Payback,
Payback.
Bumblebee,
Soundwave,
Durango.
Disco. I don't know.
We got that's
Yeah.
7. We're pretty.
It doesn't
close.
really-
Anyway,
yeah.
I was just trying to list off all the new. I don't know.
Sleepy.
Sneezy.
Doc.
Bashful.
Maverick.
Maverick. So basically, he says we got to get in and out of this thing in 2 minutes because it's going to be you've got
Fanboy.
Yeah.
I didn't look that
Oh.
up. I just thought that's a weird call sign. Fanboy, but
it's a new thing now. Where the ravine has like guided missiles and we have to get to this one spot and it's impossible and we're never going to do it.
it's just
It
so
is.
Star
It is.
Wars.
It's not just so Star Wars. It's Star Wars.
And it's
like it's
yeah, and the reactor that they have to target, it's blocked by GPS. It's the GPS is what do you call it? It's
they use like lasers. I know that.
it's jammed. And
Okay.
so instead of using the
Oh,
brand
he has
new,
to- oh my
instead of using the
God.
brand new F-35s, they have to use this older FA-18s, which came out in the 90s. And so it doesn't have the new technology that
I
the
mean,
Raptor
Rooster
Lightning
put
had.
his
I was gonna
shield
say,
over his eyes.
No, he does. He shoots blind.
Yeah, they
He's
shoot
like,
blind.
No, he.
No, it's the same
It's
thing.
still-
I
it's
know,
a
but I'm
difficult
saying
he
shot.
literally
no, but-
says, "Talk to me, Dad."
Okay, I
and
know,
then
but
he
yeah.
shoots.
I
It's
agree
the
with you. It's all-
same,
that's what I'm saying. We're all in agreement.
and that's fine, right? Because it works. It's-
That's the thing. It's like there's a lot of stuff in this movie that I would be making fun of it for if the movie
If it didn't
work,
work.
right?
Right,
But the
right.
movie works, and so I'm
it-
just
it
like,
works.
okay, fine.
I remember walking out, and I was just like, I cannot flippin' believe this is insanely as good as it is.
Well, you know why?
Has
Because
no business.
Okay, because if you're making some sci-fi movie that misses the mark and they're doing a bunch of CG junk and you don't care about it, that's one thing. We saw those jets going
Yeah.
up
Yeah,
and
that's
down
true.
and flipping. Like when you see that happening, you're into it because you're like, oh, they did it. Like they're
Yeah,
doing
right,
it.
right.
There's no like, oh, suspend disbelief. They're doing crazy movie stuff. You're like, I saw them. So
So yeah, we should. So they get the team together while Tom Cruise goes to like the low. Is that the bar from the first movie? The same
Yes.
bar.
Is it?
I'm pretty sure.
and
It
and
looked a
I'm
lot
guess-
different.
Well, the bar in the bar in real life burned down,
Oh.
and so.
okay.
But I think it's
Okay.
supposed to be.
I think but I do think it's supposed to be the same bar. But in real life, that bar burned
The
down
old
in
bar.
the early 2000s, and
Okay.
they saved like the piano and a little bit of memorabilia. And
Okay.
but
okay.
yeah, but so
But that Jennifer Connelly character was like a side, just some random waitress in
She
the
was
first movie.
no, she was a throwaway line.
Okay.
When they get sent to Top Gun, the commander says something about how he has a history of like flybys of like towers, and one Rear Admiral's daughter, and then Goose asked him, he's like, Penny Benjamin? He's like, yeah.
No way. So it's just she's not even in it.
She's just a throwaway line.
Because I knew people, like, since I wasn't super familiar, people were saying like they brought back that character. It's just,
well, they had to bring back some love interest, and that.
No, that's great though. And Jennifer Connelly is awesome in this movie.
More importantly, Jennifer Connelly is age appropriate.
That is very true.
Thank you. Yeah.
That is very true. She is. Yeah.
Has he ever had? Obviously, when he was 30, he had love interests.
How old
interests
is
who were age appropriate?
Colby Smulders? She was in the second Jack Reacher.
Yeah, she's.
I'm gonna say she was probably in her mid-30s in Jack Reacher.
Enough. It's not like she's 20.
Yeah, true. But
Rebecca Ferguson.
Yeah, but you're right
she's
though.
40, so she's
40 now.
35 when that movie came
probably.
out.
But you're right though. It is nice to see.
That's 20 years. Sorry.
That is nice to see in modern action movies the leading man being with an age appropriate.
Yeah, he's
love
59.
interest.
She's 51.
Right, and
totally
so
makes
because
sense.
usually what you'd get is the 50-year-old action star is the up and coming 20-something-year-old model actress. And, And no, but she's great in this movie. I thought they had great chemistry.
I do too.
I thought she was really funny. Having him buy all the rounds and them going on dates was really sweet and believable, and they were just funny together.
And it wouldn't work if she was 25, right?
That's true.
Like part of like that age disparity would create a power imbalance, I think, and you just wouldn't believe that.
Well, I also think
relationship.
It allows you to give them history.
Yeah.
It allows you to know that he knows that daughter,
and you need a reason for Maverick to want to be grounded.
That's
this gives
true
him
as well.
something to look forward to because his days at the Navy are numbered, and he has all this history, and he keeps getting bailed up by Iceman, but Iceman's gone, and he's about to get kicked out.
And it's
like
Iceman, he does die. Like we keep
yeah,
saying this,
and
but he ends up
he's
passing
gonna
away.
be gone.
Yeah.
He melts.
He does melt. Too.
And
the Snowman, we saw that movie.
And so it's like, what is Maverick to do? But it's like, I've found he's got people that he cares about, and he has a life that he can live, and gives him something to do. And so you're rooting for him to make it out alive because Rooster's the one that says it in this movie. He's like,
you don't have it. You have
it's
nothing.
easy for you to go on these death runs, and you have no one that's going to mourn your loss and care about it. But it's like, well, now he does.
Right.
So they gave that character in that extra level, which really helps.
Yeah, I think that helps a lot. It makes Maverick more human than
Something else that we see from Tom Cruise in this movie that I certainly don't remember seeing in other movies. He's shorter than people.
Yep.
I thought the same thing. They didn't have him stand on a milk crate to talk to Miles Teller.
Yeah.
Miles Teller's tall, and the whole movie, Tom Cruise, when they're like,
or maybe he is, but they standing on a milk crate, but he's
but-
still shorter.
but-
but he is shorter.
they don't usually do that.
Yeah.
Usually, Tom Cruise, they raise him up to be more eye level, and the scenes, it stood out because we had never seen it before.
Yeah.
But they still worked in a way where if you weren't thinking about how new that was,
right?
I liked it that it was a realistic.
I mean,
portrayal.
like not everybody. You're not always the tallest guy in the room, or if you're me, you're never.
And
the
that's
tallest
a
guy in
nice
the
thing
room.
for shorter people too, though, because they've been talking
Why are you
about.
pointing to me?
Sorry, Tom. I didn't mean
it's
to.
nice that they did that for you, Tom. Pat.
Congratulations, Tom.
But there's been this thing.
It's always
going
nice to see
You
yourself
need something off a top shelf for you?
represented on screen.
But we live in a time now where people are actually having surgery to try to raise their height a couple inches because
Wait,
people
you can do that?
Yeah.
No,
they break all your bones and reassemble them, and you become like 1 or 2 inches taller.
No,
people
I'm
are,
good.
Doesn't seem more than
and people, but that is how.
Wait a minute. What else can you grow a couple inches?
People have become so self-conscious, and
Can
they're
I take some inches from that and add it to my height? Because that's a good. I'm good.
unless you're a pogo stick, I don't think that's how that works. So.
I don't like to brag.
That was my nickname in college. That was my call
That
sign.
was my call sign. Yeah.
So what I'm trying to say is that people are judging their self-worth based on things like height, and it's horrible in the internet that people do that. And there's even these viral videos where they're asking people, like, if there's a guy that's whatever height, do you find them worthy or would you date them? And they're like, no. And that's horrible for people's self-esteem.
And it's totally true. I mean,
Well, no, I mean, these are real
like,
people doing this.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. And so when you have someone that's the hugest action star in the world and they finally don't cover up the way they really are, which is shorter than the average action star, that normalizes.
Because I'm like
it.
5'6", 5'7", and I think he's shorter than I am from what I've read.
I think he's like 5'5".
Yeah,
But
but it is weird. Like you say that, but it is also interesting. I'm not going to get into Scientology. I'm not. It's whatever. But in the scenes that he has with Jennifer Connelly, he is taller than Jennifer Connelly.
Well, I mean, maybe he is. I don't know.
I guess
was
that's
wondering how
possible.
tall
Yeah.
she is.
Yeah, I'm wondering but it is like in that last scene when she pulls up in the hot rod and he's walking up to her. He is definitely taller than she is. So maybe he can.
She's 5'7".
And how tall is he?
Well,
So she may have not been wearing shoes in that scene.
That's
is
right.
what we're
Yeah,
saying.
right,
they
right.
didn't go out of their way. They didn't have to go way out of their way for it. Because
according to the internet, he is 5'7", but I don't think that's true.
I don't think that's true.
I think that's what he puts on the internet.
Yeah.
Like I think
Really?
that's. But I've seen articles where people say that like if you see him next to other actors whose heights have been established, he's shorter.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I do think in that scene too, at the very end, I think she's also leaning back on the
That's
car.
true.
So
There you
maybe
go.
that way they're.
Yeah.
That's a good point. That's
But
a
anyway,
good call.
I liked it. I think it stood out obviously to all of us, and it's like cool. There's taller people than Tom Cruise. That's just a
we would
thing.
if we've seen Miles Teller in enough stuff where if Tom
Yeah.
Cruise is significantly if he's
Yeah.
at eye level with Miles Teller, we're like, well,
Yeah.
come on.
Just kudos for them and Tom Cruise for watching the dailies and seeing how that looked and not going, we need to fix that.
Yeah.
Like, it's impressive they
Yeah.
left it in because
Totally.
it does stand out.
Even if they cheated and made him
a little tall.
a little taller but still shorter,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's a step in the right direction.
Yes,
that's
'cause,
true.
Miles Teller's supposed to be 6 feet half an inch.
Okay.
According to
That seems
The
legit. That
Googles.
seems
Yeah.
fair. So what happens is this team is not ready. If they're not progressing.
No one's ready for this.
The only one that makes it through is Rooster, but he makes it through with
he goes too
4
slow.
minutes.
yeah, he's too slow, but
Can-
he does make it
Can
through.
you explain the maneuvers real quick of what the only way to get into the blow this thing up is they have to do a thing and a turn and a thing.
They have to like invert and then do a straight dive down because that's apparently the quickest way to do the dive, as opposed to like you're like this and it's like a bigger arc. Whereas if you invert, it'll be a quicker.
So like, but they're 100 feet or yards above the ground.
Their target is stay under 100 feet. Yeah,
Because
that's
of
other
the
than Sam's.
Sam's.
The radar coverage is over 100 feet.
So they got to do that. They got to go in this trench, waving back and forth,
Yep.
and then they go up, and then they go down inverted, shoot, and then they have to do a climb, which is like a very steep climb.
Incredible. They said that it would basically be at least like 9 Gs.
Yeah.
On the climb.
Which in these F-18s,
FA-18s, yeah.
which is like they don't do that.
The
right?
limit, the theoretical limit, I think it was 7.5 Gs in the
So-
movie.
yeah,
and they
But
break
Tom explains it by saying that's the accepted
Right.
limit.
Yeah.
It's like when you're looking at your milk and you're like, well, that's a sell-by date.
yeah,
Right.
Let's
different.
smell it. Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be fine. We find out that Maverick kind of pulls Rooster's papers basically, and he,
he
gets
did
him.
previously.
Yeah, he gets him. Basically, sets him back
4 years.
4 years, and you could say it's like because I don't want you to end up like your dad, but we find out that Meg Ryan's character from the first movie said, "Don't let him go. Like whatever you do, do not let him fly like his dad."
and he
So
promised on her
and he
deathbed,
promised, yeah. So he pulls the papers, and there's this tension, and I do appreciate that. Like that's the tension.
yeah,
Is the costing me of 4 years of my career rather than like
Not you
got
killed my
you got my
dad,
dad
yeah.
killed.
Yeah.
So like I appreciate that is the
I think it's there, but the movie doesn't make a point to be like
it's,
that.
they definitely
It's not
focus.
the sole motivating
Yeah.
factor. It certainly doesn't make things easier between them.
But he
'Cause
says he's like,
especially when
I tried to be the dad that he didn't have, so that led me to believe that they had a good
At some
relationship.
we
for
had
a
pictures of
while.
his like graduating from high school
Yeah.
or college. Like you can tell he stayed up with his life.
Yeah.
But when Hangman brings up, because later they're like, "Hey, look at this old picture of there's Maverick, and then who's this? Does he look
just
familiar?" And then he brings it up, and obviously they get into a big fight, and it's like, yeah, clearly he's still harboring these feelings of
Sure.
that Maverick got his dad killed.
One thing about the timeline that I was kind of curious about is how much time do they say has like lapsed? Is it like is Maverick set in present day? Because if you think about it, in a real world, 36 years have passed since the original and
Yeah.
the sequel, which means in Miles Teller's character,
As
he
a
was
kid.
actually on the piano
Yeah.
in the first movie. That'd make him approaching 40 in this
Probably
movie.
not modern day. Well,
No,
it was-
so I ran the numbers on this because
Yeah.
I was curious as well. And so if that kid was 2, he would have been born in 84, which would make him 38.
Yeah,
Miles
he'd be my
Teller's
age.
Miles Teller is 35.
And you could
But that's-
say
So like that's not a crazy cheat. You know what I mean? It's not. He's not 26 years old.
well, you could say that he's had a career at this point too, right? Like he's already graduated from Top Gun once.
and his career trajectory is 4 years behind
That's
where
true.
it should
True.
be.
Okay.
So if if he's supposed to be 38-ish, he really should
34.
He should be where a 34-year-old is.
Yeah,
at.
that's fair.
But you know
You
what's
know?
interesting with this movie too is it's not dated by technology. Like you don't really see a lot of cell phones other than when he puts one down on the bar. But this movie, you asked that question, I'm like, I don't know when this movie takes place because I don't know the jets and the technology and like where planes are at. So they do a good job of keeping this movie ambiguous of when does it take place, where it does feel kind of timeless.
The jets was the only thing that I wasn't certain on because I can't remember when the F-35 was actually like put into commission.
And we had you on here. Why?
I specifically was
Because
looking
I'm
for an F. Well, true.
Always important for a podcast.
That's exactly it. Yeah.
It's for us, Tom. It's, we have to have something.
Yeah.
So John Hamm finally realizes that this isn't going to work. That we do get a football scene, which is
Well, it's too dangerous. Phoenix and Bob almost
Oh,
die.
that's right. That's right. Yeah,
I love Bob. I think he's one of
Bob's
my favorite
great
characters
like
in this movie.
Yeah. What's your code name? Bob.
I love that they put like just kind of I say normal. Obviously, he has great skills, but he's not a hot shot like
Yeah,
these
he's
others.
not-
I love that. It's
Yeah,
just
well, he's not a
this-
pilot. He's a weapons system
Yeah.
officer, which is basically what Goose was in the original. He was the Rio.
But Goose was cool. I like Bob. I'm just saying Goose was still kind of a cool bro. Bob is just
I didn't
like
think so. I always thought
I always thought Goose was kind of a nerd.
I always thought Goose
in a
was
good,
a
in the
nerd
best possible
trying
way.
to act like one of the
Okay.
cool guys.
I don't know. He still
Yeah.
seemed cool. I don't know. There's something about Bob.
He was likable.
Yeah.
but I didn't. He wasn't Iceman or Maverick or
Bob just okay, but maybe he was that equivalent of an 80s nerdy guy, but Bob seems like the equivalent of a 2020s nerdy guy. And I just appreciated where I'm
Yeah.
like, hey, they give some of us people to root
give us
for.
a shot.
I would be Bob if I happened to have any interest in doing that.
and I guess maybe some of it is having seen the movie in real time.
Yeah.
Right. Like
your idea of what.
Well, also don't forget. I mean, he's coming right off of Revenge of the Nerds.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm walking into it going, "Okay, you're the guy from Real Genius. You're the guy from Revenge of the Nerds." You know.
To your point, though, in the original, when they're doing the beach volleyball scene, Goose has his shirt on. He's the only one with his shirt on. During the beach football scene,
Bob
of all
has
the
his
pilots,
shirt on.
he's the only one with his shirt on.
Sure. You're right. They're both.
I mean, I gotta
very
tell you,
yeah.
I'd be wearing my shirt too. Those
I wear my
up dudes.
I wear my shirt when I take a shower.
Yeah. Speaking of Glenn Powell, dude, that guy
Yeah,
had like a
he's
10-pack.
ripped to shreds. Miles Teller too. Like
No, they were all buff,
yeah.
But it's nice. I like that they didn't just have him play volleyball because didn't we all expect they were probably going to play volleyball? It's
Yeah.
like,
Of
cool,
course.
they had him do football.
Of course.
It was nice analog. It was clearly the same thing, but at least different.
Yeah. So John Hamm realized this isn't going to work. So they can Maverick.
Well, Iceman dies, and they kind of use
he
that as a
doesn't have
catalyst.
protection.
Yeah, he has no
anymore.
protection anymore.
So he can fire him finally.
Right.
Which is kind of a crap move under the guise of like, you can take all the time you need. He's like, no, we have a mission. He's like, no, that wasn't a suggestion.
Take all the time you
Take
need.
all the
Right.
time.
And as John Hamm is trying to get this team back on, different mission parameters, more time, blah,
Sending
blah.
them to their death.
Yes.
Everything Maverick
And they
did
all know.
is as risky as it was because that's the only way they can make it. It's not a suicide mission
Right.
for sure.
So as he's giving the speech, what does Maverick do?
He does the same thing from the
Flies
beginning.
flies the thing himself, and of course he does it.
Well, not only that, he breaks like the time record because it was supposed to be 2 minutes and 30
2:30.
seconds originally. He does it in 2:15.
It
And
was
not only
supposed
that,
to, it was supposed to be 3, and then they
Target was 2:30.
Yeah.
Because it was maybe
Yeah,
doable.
and not only that, like in all the practice runs, they never hit the target. He
Right.
not only does it in 2:15, he hits the target and just flies away. He's
Because he
like,
has to, right?
He's like, I'm
He's
good.
the best of the best.
Yeah,
and he
I'm
has to do
good.
it. Which is another awesome movie moment. And that's the thing. That's why I left this movie being like, what a picture. Because there are so many movie moments.
Yeah.
Even if you don't care for the first movie, like I had no love for. And I think even if you've never seen the first movie, it doesn't matter. This movie is full of those moments that disguise it or like dress it up with planes or action stunts or whatever you want to do. But like it has movie moments throughout the whole thing.
Absolutely.
Where
big
you're
time.
rooting for it and you're like, this is awesome. And I'm not like a jet army enthusiast guy. I know it's Navy. I just mean I'm not into like Army, Navy, guns, jets, whatever. But I left this movie going like, I want to go play like some flight game. You know what I mean? It got me just like
I want
when-
to end up on a watch list.
what? No, not the simulator. I want to go play like a Ace
I want to join the
Combat.
Navy.
Yeah, I know. But I almost made the joke. Am I too old to join the Navy?
Yes.
I know.
Yeah. So of course now
My grandpa and my great uncle were both in the Navy.
I had a Navy and an Army.
Okay.
Yeah.
My dad was in the Navy.
Is that right?
Mhm.
So now John Hamm's character has a decision to make. He can either dishonorably discharge Maverick because of what he has done, or You're the new team lead.
I like the writing
You're
in that.
you're red leader.
That was a good moment. Well, sir, and the other guy goes, I think that was
Warlock,
rhetorical.
Yeah, that's a rhetorical question. Maverick was like, oh, got it.
I love Warlock's his comedic timing. Like there was an earlier scene where Maverick like puts in this request to lower the flight deck or whatever.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
He's like you maybe learn a little bit about timing.
He was good, and just
you need
they
to
would
work on your timing a little bit.
They kept cutting to that actor, and like when he did that, he would do some little like
He's just so
fist bump kind of.
He's like, oh.
But sometimes he do like little fist bumps where you could tell like he's rooting for Maverick,
yeah,
even
well,
though he can't.
that's not a character from the first one, right?
I don't think so.
Because
Okay.
these guys are the new like John Hamm and
the way
him are-
the way he's talking to him, I just felt like kind of.
I thought he was.
It would. I mean, the way they kind of interact with each other, it kind of felt like he was supposed to be maybe somebody from the first movie.
probably another one of those Ed Harris situations.
Yeah, right.
Where, but I really liked. There's a lot like the other supporting characters were Hondo. That guy was really funny. He was always on the runway and helping them do stuff. And then Charles Parnell is the actor that played Warlock, and his comedic timing was great, like you said. There are a lot of. The guy that played Bob, his name's Louis Pullman.
I've seen that guy before,
and I was trying to figure out, but he's not like related to Bill Pullman, is he? I'm not familiar. Oh, he was in Bad Times at the El Royale. Maybe that's.
Oh
where I remember
yeah,
him from.
yeah. Man, that was a long
But
movie.
he was good.
So he picks his team, and he picks Rooster. Like that's the big thing.
As his
He-
wingman.
Yeah, as his wingman.
Because
He does not-
Hangman is the superior, like technical pilot. Like he's the one that's doing everything the fastest, but he also doesn't really care about his other.
he leaves you hanging.
He left his during the training. He would leave his wingman behind, and he's like, they're just not fast enough.
Right, which is not what you want
Exactly.
for a wingman, right?
No.
So it makes sense that he picks Rooster. But also, he talks to Jennifer Connelly, damned if he does, damned if he doesn't. If he grounds Rooster, he'll never forgive him. And if he brings him with him, he's going to maybe get him killed.
Could get him killed. So yeah,
But he does it.
we've got our team set. And I do like this moment here where like the two of them kind of interact, and he was like, Rooster wants to say something to Maverick, but he's like, hey, like we'll talk when we get back. And they give like that little head nod. I was like, that's good. Like that's a good little thing. Real quick, they get through the mission. They do it, which is just ridiculous. Like I do like there's miracle number 1 and there's miracle number 2. They destroy unnamed uranium plant, but in the process, Maverick gets shot down.
Was that in an underground bunker?
It was an underground bunker.
I mean, everyone had to give a little smile that knows the podcast used to take place in the underground bunker.
Yes. A secret.
Yeah.
Radioactive.
Right.
Underground bunker.
All right.
Um,
Well,
And
not
you
anymore.
see the Real Spoilers
Our logo. Yeah, that's true.
quite a few times.
But at this point, Maverick gets shot down.
He sacrifices himself to save Rooster. You pointed out.
Right. John Hamm is forced with another decision where he's like, I can either bring them all back or try to go save him. And he's like, we're not losing anybody else. Again, making the right
It's a
call.
tactical.
Like,
It makes
it's the
sense.
right call.
Let's send a bunch of people to die in enemy territory. I mean, with all those Sams all over the place. Like,
Right.
there's no and two
In the two
crazy.
Yeah, the unnamed 5th generation fighters. I think they look a lot like F-22s, but I'm not certain about that.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Unnamed and unmarked.
Yeah, right. So of course,
those were like Death Star pilots.
They were.
They're
They
all
same-
black. Their
same
helmets
suit,
look like
same
I mean,
everything.
There were so many homages, but yeah.
So Maverick is he's trapped between literally a rock and a hard place because he's got a helicopter firing rounds at him, and just when you think he's gonna die, of course, here comes the helicopter's blown up. Here comes Rooster and saves the day. Now Rooster gets shot down, and now they're both kind of stuck in this unnamed frozen tundra, which looks maybe like Russia, but we're not going to call it Russia, but that's the way it looks. So they're running, and I like this. He's like, are you good? Yeah, and I like that at this point they have let go of whatever. Well, I guess Rooster has let go of whatever animosity there was.
Well, yeah, he
because
picked
now we have
him,
to,
and then they saved each
and now
other.
we got to get out of this mess. And
Which this is just crazy.
This
but
is the part that I wasn't a huge fan of. I was okay with finishing the mission and getting out of there. This is the last part. I was like, this is all right.
It's pretty unbelievable. But again, the movie is so exciting, and you enjoy it where you're like,
It just
okay,
works.
they
right,
broke
right.
into the enemy base,
and they steal
took
this
off
old timey plane
on the
The
taxiway.
14, the plane that Maverick happened to fly in the original.
Right. And they Maverick ends up shooting down these two superior airplanes, which
He's got them because it's not the
it's not
It's
the
not the plane.
it's the pilot.
It's the pilot.
Right.
And becomes an ace in the process.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now he has 5 confirmed kills. I guess.
Yeah.
And just when you think that they are going to lose, here comes not Iceman, and a hangman, I guess, and blows up the other
But
plane.
at least one of those pilots ejected. He doesn't necessarily have a kill.
The second pilot ejected.
Yeah, the second one ejected.
I would count it. Blows up a plane.
I'm just saying.
Yeah. They definitely counted it when he
Said
lands.
it gives him 5 kills.
That's right.
Whatever he
Well,
did, gave him 5 kills.
yeah,
makes
That's
him
fine.
That counts.
the only modern day ace, right?
That's
Something
right.
like that.
That's
Yeah.
right. So they all get back, and you get the same picture that you get with Iceman and Maverick, but now it's Goose. Not Goose, but it's
Rewatching Top Gun, I was surprised I never see anyone around to take all the pictures.
I know there's a lot of pictures.
that we see that are
I would
clearly
have
just
loved to have
screen
seen
grabs
all the-
from the movie.
Because
Right,
they have
right,
like
right.
Navy photographers, right? That just document stuff.
Sure they
That's
do,
the job
yeah.
of different.
That's actually the reason Tom Savini
Yeah.
was as good as he was at creating effects is because he was a photographer in Vietnam.
Yeah, there you
He'd
go.
take pictures of like the worst stuff you could think of. He was like, I could make that at home.
Yeah.
I don't need war to do this.
So he gets back, and of course now he does tell Jennifer Connelly, "I'm never leaving again. I'm coming back." And of course he leaves, and he comes back, and she's not there. And I was like, "That's kind of good. Like I
Yeah.
like the fact that she's the one that's not there."
Mhm.
I also liked when she took him sailing.
Yeah.
That was pretty
she's
good.
like,
Where he's,
I love
he
that
is
you're in
kind-
the
he's
Navy.
Yeah, he's inept. He can't figure out how to sail a boat.
That
And
was
I
a
think-
really cute scene and
Yeah.
really funny the way that she's like, now you're officially in the Navy or whatever. She's
Right.
like, now you-
So we cut back to Maverick's hangar. Well, now he's working with Rooster to rebuild this plane, and of course he looks through like the propellers and he sees Jennifer Connelly's daughter.
I do like that they basically filmed this on the same day. This random, not like, I'm using a wrench on this part of the plane you can't see.
Not sure
Oh, now
they-
Rooster's here turning the...
I'm not entirely sure they know how to use an Allen wrench, but
It was just
maybe.
funny because it was so random. You don't know what they're doing, but they're wrenching.
Yeah, they're just putting a wrench in this thing that we can't see.
Yeah.
And then we see Jennifer Connelly leaning up against a car, and they fly off. Into
She has
the-
a daughter in this,
Yeah.
and
And I do like
their
that-
relationship was good.
I love that scene where he's jumping out. He's like, "This is the last time I'm jumping out of your window," and she's like, "Okay." She's like, "I have a reputation. Like, I can't have random men in my house." And then he falls and he stands up, and her daughter's like
right there,
right
of
there in
course.
the window. I was like, "Oh, that's pretty good." Yeah, this movie has no right to be as amazing as it is.
This
It's
is
a
a
fantastic.
Perfect summer blockbuster.
This
Yeah.
and we haven't had one of those. For the most part, it's all been superhero stuff.
Yeah,
or Fast
there hasn't
and
been a
Furious
non-superhero perfect
Right.
summer blockbuster in
No.
a long
And
time.
that's what I mean. They don't make movies like this. Tom Cruise is the guy doing it. There was a little preview for Mission Impossible before
good.
this one. It
I mean,
comes
that
out in
looks
a
fun.
year. I'm really excited to get that back.
How much
didn't-
money is that going to make now?
Oh,
Didn't
yeah.
realize it was a part one.
Yeah, they
I was like,
instead of being
holy
two movies, they turned into
guacamole.
a part one. It was always going to be two movies,
was
but I
it?
guess it's just such the same story.
Okay.
But we just don't see movies like this that aren't the big CGI fest. And I like superhero movies, obviously, I really do. But
Totally, I'm not against them, but
but this
it's
is-
also not. I mean, I love pizza, but it's not the only thing I want to eat.
exactly, and
Yeah.
and Tom Cruise is keeping this type of filmmaking alive, along with some other people. But he's obviously one of the big ones that's pushing.
Who else
this.
do you think is doing it though? I mean,
Well, like George Miller,
oh, that's fair.
with Mad
Okay.
Max. I
Yeah.
mean, Tom
Okay,
Cruise.
but
is,
like he makes one of those every 20 years.
oh, I know, but there are people that are still pushing for that type of movie to be made. But Tom Cruise is the biggest and does it the most often. I mean, no doubt.
Yeah.
So
Nolan.
what's that? Nolan is big
Yeah.
on practical. Exactly. There are people doing it that are making big movies, and so hopefully we'll get these type of filmmakers around for a while, and we'll pass it on to the next generation so we don't lose it. Because I think movies, if like you said, if all you eat is pizza, if all we got was the CGI stuff,
Yeah.
I think it would start getting kind of bland.
Yeah.
And this action was phenomenal. I was on the edge of my seat. That third act was absolutely incredible. And I left so exhilarated from this movie. And I'm like, yeah, this is awesome. Where
Yeah, it
the
was-
first one didn't do that, but this one, I'm like, this movie was great.
Yeah, this is a movie that throughout its production I just rolled my eyes at.
Same.
Its
Totally.
very existence and everything about it said cash grab.
Yeah.
Everything about it
Someone
said,
had to eat a shoe because of it.
yeah,
You see
my-
that?
I did.
Matt Patches,
Yeah.
10 years ago, said, if they make Top Gun 2, I'm going to eat a shoe. He did it.
And he made it.
Yeah, but yeah, it's just everything about it. We just said my career is floundering. I'm in desperate need of a hit, and while that might have been true, like I don't think that's any less true. But he definitely knew that if he was going to bring back this property, he had to do it right. And
Yeah.
holy crap,
He did it right.
ever do it right? Like,
And it did it for you, Steve. You're a fan of the first one pretty much. Like this
Oh, yeah.
movie.
I'm not ashamed to say I've actually seen it in theaters now 3 times. I went to
The first one?
Yeah, no, this
No, I'm
one.
just kidding.
No, so I went to the screening on Monday, and then Tuesday I was actually supposed to go to a different movie, a one-night showing of a documentary on Nolan Ryan.
Oh.
And my buddy and I went to dinner, and he's like, "Oh, looks like the opening is tonight." I was like, "Are there tickets left?" He's like, "In the front row." was like, do we want to go see it? So we went and saw it. And then I went yesterday just so I could have a refresher to talk about it today.
That's awesome.
And you think it surpassed the first one?
Oh, easily. Cool. It's just everything is so much tighter. Everything.
This fixed everything I didn't like about the first one. Everything.
Yeah, the first one was just one of those like Saturday afternoon movies where I don't care about it. But
I will also say it fixed it without undermining it or apologizing for it.
Yeah.
It just fixed it. You know what I mean?
That's very true.
Sometimes when movies do something like that, it's like
a knee jerk.
Yeah, and then the people that like the first one are mad at it.
It's great. It was inclusionary.
Right.
You know, you had black pilots. You had Phoenix. Is Phoenix?
There was another female pilot.
Female
too.
pilot. Yeah. So you saw that there was inclusion, and we do live in a different time. But they never hit you over the head. Where that's why it's not really going to make. There are always people be mad, but this movie doesn't have a lot for people to be like, I'm so mad.
It's not like they took Maverick and made him gay.
Yeah.
Right. They did, which, if you
it wouldn't have been a long walk.
It's not.
But this movie's so good, nobody's even complaining about the fact that he rides a motorcycle without a helmet.
Right.
That's true.
Like
That's true.
Yeah.
I will say, maybe we'll link it when the show pops up, but if you can go find the Quentin Tarantino rundown of the first Top Gun, just look up Quentin
What
Tarantino
movie is
Top
that
Gun.
It's from the Eric Stoltz indie drama Sleep With Me.
Yes.
And Tom saw it in theaters.
I did.
That's the video I sent you.
It is. When you watch it, you can't unsee what he says about Top Gun.
But do you think do you think he feels bad about changing the last line for the joke? Because it's like,
I don't think he does.
No.
He's man.
I think he's like. I think in his mind, he's like, I'm making a larger point, and I had to fudge a little bit.
Right.
Like it's.
It's
and
very
I will
funny.
also say people misremember lines all the time, right? Nobody says
True.
"play it again, Sam."
Right.
He doesn't say,
I'm your father.
I'm your father, right? Like so, it's
Berenstein Bears.
right.
But yeah, that's you'll
Ed
never.
McMahon never worked for Publishers Clearinghouse.
Yeah,
It's Vince's brother.
yeah. Iron Eagle came out before Top Gun.
Right.
I learned that yesterday. Like, and I lived through it.
That's
and
funny.
in my
That's
head,
very funny.
Top Gun came
Was it
out.
Lou Gossett Jr.?
Yeah.
Who's the other guy?
The other guy.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Excellent.
like that's but yeah, like in my head, Iron Eagle was a reaction to Top Gun, and
It's the other way around.
they were being produced
Well,
simultaneously.
that's the thing.
It's
so
the,
many
it's
of these
the,
movies
it's
take.
It's the volcano.
Yeah, it's
Dante's Peak issue.
it's
yes.
Ants and Bugs Life.
Yeah,
and-
it's Katzenberg going, oh, I've got to go get those bastards at Disney, and we're gonna create the exact same movie that they're doing over there.
This is amazing.
Yeah.
IMAX is the way to do this. If you're going to do it in theaters, that you have to do it in IMAX. It's worth every penny.
Absolutely,
And I
it
agree
is.
with Tom. I usually don't say that because it's not worth it, but this is absolutely worth it.
Absolutely worth it.
Yeah.
So it was a great time at the movies.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Well, I guess that's it for this one. Let's go around the table and everyone can say where to find them.
This is Joe. You can follow me on the Twitter at JoeyButts, BUTTS21.
This is Kevin. Follow me on Twitter at KevinRBrackett, and if you're into video games, subscribe to The Games We Love.
And Steve, where can they find you and your wares?
This is Steve. You can find me on Facebook and Twitter at the Godcavs.
And you wrote a review.
I did
This
write a
movie.
review on Review STL.
Never heard of it. And you can find me on Twitter at Roger Kubert or on Facebook at facebook.com/Tom O'Keefe. You can find the show online, facebook.com/Real Spoilers. While you're there, like the page, join the group, and of course, don't forget our Patreon at patreon.com/Real Spoilers. So that's it for this one. Thanks for tuning in. And until next time, Chappie gets dug into the Air Force Academy.
Get ready for a spoiler.